Let me tell you something right now. The cemetery is the richest place on earth. You know why? Because it's filled with people who had talent, big dreams, world-changing ideas, but they took them to the grave. Why? Because they didn't do the one thing that changes everything. They didn't keep going. See, talent can open the door, but only hard work will carry you through it. And if you quit before the finish line, you'll never know how close you were to greatness. Talent is a beautiful thing. It's that spark inside you that comes naturally, that thing you do with ease while others have to work twice as hard. It might be singing, speaking, writing, leading, creating, solving problems, or connecting with people. Talent is a gift, no doubt. But here's the real truth most people don't like to hear. Gas talent by itself is not enough. You can be the most gifted person in the room, but if you don't have the discipline to develop that gift, it'll fade. You'll watch people with half your talent pass you up, not because they're better than you, but because they worked harder than you. Talent will give you a head start, but hard work is what determines who finishes the race. The world is full of people with potential. You see them every day, the should-have-beens, the almost famous, the back in my day I could have type of folks. They had the tools, they had the opportunity, but what they didn't have was the discipline. They didn't wake up early. They didn't stay consistent. They didn't push through the days they didn't feel like it. And slowly, without even realizing it, that gift, it went silent. See, talent makes it easy to start, but discipline is what helps you finish. When you rely only on talent, you get comfortable. You think, I got this. So you stop growing, you stop practicing, you stop preparing. And before you know it, somebody who had less talent than you is now standing on the stage you thought was yours. And it's not because they were better. It's because they respected the process. They honored the work. They sharpened their skills. Let's be real, discipline ain't glamorous. It's waking up when you'd rather sleep. It's putting in reps when nobody's watching. It's saying no to distractions and yes to commitment. But discipline does something special that talent never could. It builds as consistency, and consistency builds a trust. Trust in yourself and trust from others. You think people succeed because they're the most talented. No, most people succeed because they showed up day after day. When it was hard, when it was boring, when it didn't look like it was working. They stayed the course. They kept moving. And over time, they became unstoppable, not because they had the biggest gift, but because they refused to waste it. It's just like a muscle. You can have strong genetics, but if you don't hit the gym, that strength stays locked inside. It's the same with your mind, your purpose, your future. Talent is the seed, but discipline is the water, the sunlight, the soil, the grind. And if you don't feed your gift with discipline, you'll always wonder what it could have become. So the next time you look at someone and think, man, they're not even that talented, how did they make it? The answer is simple. They did the work. They didn't wait for perfect conditions. They didn't lean on potential. They moved, they trained, they failed, they got back up. And eventually, they outgrew their limitations. Don't be fooled. Talent might open a few doors, but if you ain't got the discipline to walk through them and keep walking, those doors will shut, and you'll be standing outside talking about what you used to do or what you could have been. It doesn't matter how gifted you are. If you don't back it up with the grind, the world will never see what was inside you. Don't let your talent die from laziness. Build it. Stretch it. Respect it enough to put in the work, because the only thing worse than not having talent is having it and doing nothing with it. Hard work is more than just effort. It's transformation. It's what molds you, sharpens you, and prepares you for everything life is going to throw your way. See, talent may come easy, but hard work, that builds character. And character is what keeps you standing when everything else tries to knock you down. Talent might get you noticed, but hard work is what earns you respect, not just from other people, but from yourself. When you work hard, you begin to uncover layers of yourself that you didn't even know existed. You find out how much grit you've really got. You discover how far you can stretch, how deep you can dig, and how strong you truly are under pressure. That's the kind of growth that talent alone will never give you. Talent will let you shine when the lights are bright, but hard work trains you in the dark, behind the scenes, when no one is watching. That's where true greatness is born. Hard work teaches you how to show up when you don't feel like it. It teaches you how to keep going even when you're tired, even when you're discouraged, even when the results don't show up right away. It builds emotional toughness. It creates a kind of mental discipline that says, I don't need to feel good to do what needs to be done. That's power. That's resilience. And that's how people win. Every person you admire for their success, whether it's business, sports, art, or life, got there because of one thing: they put in the work. Even the most talented folks had to grind. Michael Jordan, Beyonce, Oprah. Yes, they had gifts, but what separates them isn't just the gift. It's how they trained it, how they worked it, how they refused to take it for granted. They outworked the competition. They kept pushing when others settled. That's what made them legends. Let's make it plain. When you work hard, you start building a foundation that's unshakable. You stop depending on chance and start depending on effort. You begin to walk with confidence, not because of what you were born with, but because of what you built with your own hands. There's pride in that. There's strength in that, because nobody can take it away from you. You earned it, and let's talk about setbacks, because they come with the territory. When you work hard, you're going to stumble. You're going to fail. That's part of the process. But hard work gives you the ability to get back up with something new: experience. You don't see failure the same way. When you've put your blood, sweat, and tears into something, you see it as a lesson you learn. You adjust, you grow. That kind of wisdom doesn't come from talent. That comes from the struggle, from the grind, from those long nights and early mornings when you kept showing up anyway. The real beauty of hard work is this: it's fair. It don't care where you came from. It doesn't matter what your last name is, what your past looks like, or how many resources you started with. Hard work is the great equalizer. It will open doors for you that talent can't. It will build bridges over gaps that others thought were too wide to cross. And the more you work, the more you believe in yourself, because you've seen what you're capable of when you don't quit. So stop waiting for someone to notice your talent. Stop hoping your potential is enough. Get up, get focused, get disciplined. Because the people who win in life aren't always the most talented. They're the ones who outwork the rest. They're the ones who refuse to settle. They're the ones who kept pushing when nobody believed in them but themselves. Hard work isn't just how you succeed. It's how you grow into the kind of person who deserves to succeed. And once you've built yourself through hard work, brick by brick, hour by hour, no storm, no setback, and no critic can take that away from you. Consistency is the difference between a dream and a reality. You can have all the talent in the world, and you can even work hard for a little while, but if you don't show up day after day, even when it's boring, even when it's hard, even when it feels like nothing's changing, then success will slip right through your fingers. Talent may impress people for a moment, but consistency earns their trust for a lifetime. What most people don't understand is that consistency doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean you never fall. It doesn't mean you never mess up. It means you keep showing up. It means you keep swinging. It means you don't let yesterday's failures stop today's effort. See, consistency builds habits, and habits build lifestyles. And your lifestyle, how you live every single day, is what determines the results you're going to see down the line. Let's break it down. If you go to the gym once a week and expect results, you'll be disappointed. But if you show up 5 days a week, even when the scale isn't moving, even when the mirror isn't changing over time, your body has no choice but to respond. Why? Because consistency compounds. It stacks up. It builds momentum, even when you can't see it in the moment. That applies to everything: business, relationships, education, personal growth. What you do daily shapes what you become permanently. A lot of folks make the mistake of thinking they need motivation to keep going. Let me tell you something: motivation fades. It's like a sugar rush, is strong in the moment, but quick to disappear. If you're waiting to feel motivated to chase your dreams, you're going to be waiting a long time. You don't need motivation. You need commitment. You need discipline. You need a reason bigger than your feelings. That's where consistency steps in. It holds you steady when your emotions are all over the place. It keeps your eyes on the goal when life tries to pull you in every direction. Some days you'll feel like a champion. Other days you'll feel like quitting. But if you stay consistent, if you keep showing up with purpose, you will outlast the ones who were only in it for the hype. You will rise above the ones who started strong but fizzled out. Consistency also teaches you how to master your craft. You don't become great by accident. You become great by repetition, by doing the work again and again, by learning from every mistake, by adjusting, improving, and refusing to stay average. When you're consistent, your talent gets sharper. Your skills get stronger. Your vision gets clearer. You start to separate yourself, not because you're better, but because you're reliable, because you can be counted on. That matters. People don't just value what you do, they value how often you do it. If you show up in relationships with consistency, trust is built. If you run your business with consistency, customers come back. If you lead with consistency, people will follow. The world is full of starters, dreamers, planners, talkers. But the finishers, the ones who actually cross the line, that's a much smaller crowd. And they're almost always the most consistent ones. Here's the part that nobody tells you: being consistent is not always exciting. It's not flashy. It's not glamorous. It's doing the right thing even when it's the hard thing. It's saying no to distractions. It's getting up early when your body wants to sleep. It's staying focused when the world is trying to pull you away. But it's worth it every single time. Because at the end of the day, consistency is proof that you're serious. It's the foundation you build your legacy on. It's the quiet force behind every major success story. And the people who win, they're not always the most talented. They're the ones who showed up the most, who kept their word to themselves, who chose discipline over comfort, not once, but every single day. So if you want to turn your dreams into reality, stop aiming for perfect and start aiming for consistent. Keep showing up. Keep doing the work, because when talent slows down, when the hype fades, when the excitement disappears, consistency keeps you in the game, dust. And if you stay in the game long enough, you're going to win. Failure is one of the most misunderstood experiences in life. People treat it like a final verdict, like it's proof that you weren't good enough, smart enough, or worthy enough. But the truth is, failure is not the end of your story. It's actually one of the most valuable chapters. See, failure isn't meant to destroy you. It's designed to teach you, to shape you, to humble you, to prepare you for the success you're praying for but not yet ready to handle. When you fail, you're given a gift: insight. You're shown exactly where your blind spots are. You get to learn what doesn't work, and more importantly, you learn what you're made of, because it's easy to look strong when everything's going right. But failure, that's where the real growth begins. It tests your patience. It reveals your character. It builds your strength. Success without struggle is often shallow. If everything came easy, you wouldn't appreciate it. You wouldn't be grounded. But when you've failed, when you've had the doors slammed in your face, when you've cried at night because your effort didn't get the reward, when you've tasted disappointment again and again, and you still get back up, now that success will mean something. That victory will have weight. That's why failure is not your enemy. It's your trainer. It's your mentor. It's the process that turns talent into testimony. Too many people give up the first time things go wrong. They face one rejection and think it means they're not cut out for it. They hit one roadblock and think it's a sign to turn around. But the truth is, anything worth having will come with struggle. And every person who's achieved something meaningful has a story of failure behind the scenes. The difference is, they didn't quit, they didn't fold, they stayed in the fight. Failure teaches you persistence. It teaches you how to try again with better strategy, better focus, and deeper humility. It strips away ego. It makes you coachable. It forces you to listen, to learn, to adapt. And that's where you become dangerous, because now you've got experience. You've got wisdom. You're no longer just relying on talent. You've been through the fire and you're still standing. Let's get personal. When you fail and choose not to quit, you grow into someone you wouldn't have become without the fall. The stronger version of you is waiting on the other side of that failure. The wiser version of you, the more disciplined, more grounded, more focused version of you. And you can't skip that part. You can't avoid the process. That pain, that frustration, it's not the end, it's just the middle. And the middle is messy, but it's where all the transformation happens. So if you failed, good, that means you're in the game. That means you're trying. That means you're on the right path. Don't fear failure, fear quitting, fear settling, fear waking up one day with regret because you walked away too soon. You've got to redefine failure in your mind. It's not losing, it's learning, it's not a dead end, it's a redirection. The real tragedy isn't failing. The real tragedy is not trying again. The real tragedy is sitting on the sidelines of your own life, afraid to take another shot. You only fail when you stop showing up. You only lose when you quit trying everything else. That's just part of the training ground. Failure is not a curse, it's a teacher. And every time you go through it, you pick up new tools. You get better, you get smarter. You become more than you were before. Don't resent your failures, respect them, study them, use them. Because they are building you into the kind of person who can not only achieve greatness, but sustain it. So the next time you fall short, the next time things don't go your way, don't hang your head, lift it. Dust yourself off and remind yourself this ain't where your story ends, it's where your strength begins. Winners don't always look like winners at the beginning. In fact, the people who end up at the top often started off overlooked, underestimated, and under-resourced. But they had one thing that most people don't. They refuse to quit. Quitting is easy. Anybody can quit. Anybody can walk away when it gets hard. But the people who rise, the people who make it, are the ones who push through every obstacle with grit in their soul and fire in their eyes. Refusing to quit isn't about being stubborn. It's about being committed. It means you've made up your mind that you're going to get there, no matter how long it takes, no matter how many setbacks come your way. You've got a vision that's bigger than your pain, a dream that's louder than your doubts, a purpose that keeps pulling you forward, even when everything around you tells you to stop. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear: talent might open the door, but it's persistences that'll get you through it. You will be tested. Life will throw everything at you: rejection, disappointment, betrayal, delays. You'll question yourself. You'll question the process. You might even feel like you've got nothing left. But that's exactly where winners are made, in those moments when giving up feels like the easier option, but you choose to stay the course anyway. So you see, when you don't quit, you send a message to life itself. I'm not here to play small. I'm not here to fold under pressure. I'm here to win, and I'm willing to go through whatever it takes to get there. That kind of attitude, that's dangerous, because most people are waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, the perfect conditions, but the ones who refuse to quit, they create their own opportunities. They fight through the storm. They show up broken, tired, unsure, but they show up anyway. Refusing to quit builds mental toughness. It teaches you to be resourceful, to be resilient. It forces you to grow beyond your excuses and tap into a level of strength you didn't even know you had. Every time you push forward, when it would have been easier to fall back, you stretch your capacity, you expand your belief, and before you know it, you become unstoppable, not because everything is easy, but because you don't back down when it's hard. Let me be real with you. Success doesn't come to the smartest person or even the most talented. It comes to the one who stayed consistent long enough to let the results catch up. It comes to the one who kept working behind the scenes when nobody was clapping. It comes to the one who believed when everybody else doubted. The one who got up after every failure, brushed off the dirt, and said, I ain't done yet. That spirit, that's the winning spirit. That's the mindset that builds empires, saves families, transforms lives. Because when you refuse to quit, you outlast the struggle. You beat the odds. You rise from the ashes. And eventually life has no choice but to reward your persistence. Doors that were shut will open. People who said no will change their minds. The work you've been doing will start to speak for itself. But none of that happens if you give up too soon. So don't let a rough season convince you to abandon your purpose. Don't let a few losses blind you to your potential. Don't let your current situation trick you into thinking it's your final destination. This journey is not about who starts the fastest, it's about who refuses to stop, who keeps climbing even with scraped knees and a broken heart, who says, if I have to crawl, I'll crawl, but I will not quit. Because if you stay in the game, if you keep putting one foot in front of the other, even if they're baby steps, you'll look up one day and realize you've come further than you ever imagined. You didn't need to be perfect. You didn't need to be gifted. You just needed to be determined. And the ones who are determined, they don't lose. They is learn, grow, rise in every time. So let me tell you plain and simple, it's not the most talented that make it. It's the ones who just won't give up. It's the people who fall 7 times and stand up 8. It's the ones who stay hungry, stay focused, and stay in motion even when life hits hard. Hard work will beat talent every time if you refuse to quit. That's your edge. That's your power. Now look in the mirror and remind yourself you were not built to break. You were built to rise. You were built to finish. You were built to win, but you got to keep going. Don't let the struggle make you stop. Let it sharpen you. Let it strengthen you. Let it prepare you. Because the moment you decide to never quit, that's the moment your destiny starts chasing you. Now go out there and make quitting regret ever tempting you.